Mallory Hartley, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, sitting alongside the Director of Recruiting, Greg Powers.
Howdy.
Howdy. Today, we're going to shine the spotlight on a Texas high school football program. And as you can see behind us, we're going to be talking about the Bastrop Bears and what they have in store this upcoming 2025 season. But first, let's flash back to last year real quick. They went 9-3 overall, undefeated in district play. They went 7-0 in district play. And Coach Greedle and his squad are absolutely not going away because, boy, howdy, if you can see the list behind us, they've got a plethora of dudes coming back this year.
Low-key loaded.
Low-key loaded.
Yeah, they've got a lot of talent on this team, and some of it's under the radar, right? But the two guys at the top of that list certainly aren't under the radar, and that's Tiki Hola and Weston Nielsen. Pretty much every school in the country knows about those two guys.
Absolutely. Tiki Hola actually will be committing this Saturday, 6'2", 285. We got him rated as a 3-star and ranked as the 6th best defensive lineman in the state of Texas, and he's going to be making his decision, choosing between USC, SMU, and Notre Dame this weekend.
Yeah, a top 3 that is really intriguing to me, and I think SMU has done a tremendous job in his recruitment, and they've been on fire in the Lone Star State, adding key commitment after key commitment. And next in line, I think that they have lined up could be Tiki Hola, but they're going to have to beat out some nationally prominent programs, namely Notre Dame. USC already has 2 defensive tackle commitments, and so that makes me hedge my bets towards SMU or Notre Dame just by default. Could not be true. They could have Tiki ahead of the rest of them, but we'll see. I'm thinking it's going to be Notre Dame or SMU, and I'm just interested to see who it's going to be at the end of the day whenever he makes that decision in Bastrop's gym on Saturday.
And another guy not really needing any sort of introduction is 2027 quarterback Weston Nielsen, 6'2", 180 pounds. We've got him as a 4-star at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. One of the most prolific passers in the state of Texas in the class of 2027. Threw for 3,185 yards and 37 touchdowns, only throwing 7 interceptions in his sophomore campaign.
True facts. Sophomore.
Yes, which is crazy. He's got offers from Oregon, Illinois, Arizona State, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and of course more. And you got to see him at the Elite 11 camp in Austin a couple months ago.
Yep.
And give me your thoughts on him.
He reminds me a lot of Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King that played at Longview. That is the guy that I immediately thought of when I watched him throw. He has the big arm that Haynes possesses and the overall potential to be a high-level starter at the college level and maybe progress into an NFL player one day. He's just starting to scratch the surface of his potential, too, from a developmental standpoint, because he's going to get bigger and stronger as this recruiting process unwinds itself for him as he plays his final 2 seasons of Texas high school football. Already highly productive and racking up the W's. So wins breed success and hard work breeds success, and you're starting to really see that on his list because some of the top programs across the country have already extended him offers, including schools that you mentioned earlier. Who's going to be next is my question. Like Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, are some of those schools going to jump on board soon? Because I do think he's going to be a national level name.
And I like what you said about him having a high ceiling, especially when it comes to his frame size. But one of the things I wanted to point out is that Coach Greedle specifically said in the questionnaire that he turned in is that he's got one of the best offensive minds on the team.
Well, that's because he's such a high IQ guy, right? Tremendous GPA, good length. So he's well-rounded. He's not just the guy that you're looking for from an arm strength perspective or being able to pull the ball down and run or make and extend plays. He's got it upstairs, and I think that's really important. When you have the coaches belief in you, that says enough to me, especially one as buttoned up as Coach Greedle, who's done a tremendous job down there.
Let's jump back up to the class of 2026, and we'll talk about wide receiver H-back combo Brent Carter at 6'3", 200 pounds. He caught 21 passes for 409 yards and 7 touchdowns, averaging 45 yards a game, and he holds offers from Lamar and East Texas A&M.
Yeah, good offer list going for him, and I actually am saying Carter is like the guy on this team that I think of. Like, his success makes the team tick. When he's on, they're playing extremely well. He is that option for Nielsen in the passing game, right? Deep balls, moving the chains, right? You got to be able to pick up first downs to extend these drives. And Carter is the guy that when he is on his game, the team wins. And I think that's very important. His tape popped to me. Like, he's listed as an H-back, tight end, wide receiver type, and I think that he'll probably do that at the next level. But he's got some go juice in there. He can run and he can move around a little bit. I think he's like sneaky athletic.
2026 defensive end, Val Regalado at 6'1", 266 pounds. He recorded 85 tackles and 6 tackles for a loss last season. And what Coach Greedle said about him that I really like, you can obviously tell from his huddle tape, he brings a lot of size and violence on the edge to the table.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think he could probably or will shift into the interior at college, but look at that Bastrop defensive front right now. They're playing a 3-man front, and they've got some big dudes, and they're interchangeable and able to slide around, but he's athletic enough that he can stay on the outside and make some plays and make some things happen. But I think he plays with extremely good pad leverage, which helps him be successful to shed blocks and find the ball.
And jumping back down to the class of 2027, it's outside linebacker, defensive end, Austin Moylan at 6'2", 211. He recorded 58 tackles and 9 sacks last season. And he has a couple of D1 offers from Arizona State and Central Michigan.
Arizona State's been all over him, too. They were his first offer, and it seems like they've really followed up. They've already had him out to Tempe, already made a visit to Bastrop to check in on him throughout the course of this recruiting season. It's the evaluation period, as you guys know, right now across the country, and coaches are out beating the streets to find the next talent. Well, Arizona State's got a leg up with Moylan already because they're really building that relationship up from the ground level. I'm really excited about his potential because we just talked about the 3 big dudes up front, right? Well, they're cleaning things up, and now Moylan's able to put pressure on the quarterback and just hunt behind them, and that's fun to watch on tape, giving him an edge quite literally, because I think that's the position he will play today. I don't know whether to call him a defensive end or outside linebacker, and I don't really know that you should call him either. I'm just going to call him an edge presence on Bastrop's defense, who can stand up and pursue out to the flats, do some coverage stuff, but I love him when he pins his ears back and gets behind the line of scrimmage to make big hits.
And in the class of 2026, let's talk about offensive guard Isaiah Walker-Lopez. And at 6'2", 280, Coach Greedle said he is kind of like that anchor on the offensive line, and that he's just flat out mean and aggressive up front.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that he's really important to the team. And he's important to the team because he has to be that anchor. And I think that was the perfect way to explain it. They got to keep Weston Nielsen's jersey clean. And he's the type of guy that you want doing it. But he can also open up lanes in what I think is going to be an improved run game this year at Bastrop.
And let's talk about 2026 wide receiver Diego Rangel. And at 6'2", 165, he caught 17 passes for 239 yards and 3 touchdowns in his junior campaign.
Need a little bit of a field stretcher within any offense, right? You got to have a guy that can make people miss in the open field, and he does some dynamic stuff for them that helps balance out the offense. This is a good offensive attack. If they have the help up front that they need, right? If they can block, this is going to be a really good team because they have a lot of the elements. It's a well-rounded team.
It's a very well-rounded team, obviously by the dudes that we've already talked about.
Right.
But are there any others that you think that, Texas high school football fans should keep their eye on?
William White is a defensive back who recently posted a 10-6, and because of that was rewarded with a scholarship offer. Not only because of that, because he has some tape to back that up. Cale Finley is another name that I'm really keeping a close eye on in that secondary because we haven't talked about any players in that defensive backfield. And guess what? To win another district championship, they're going to have to slow teams down to keep them from scoring. And you need those guys on the back end to be able to combat these high profile offenses. And I think another guy up front that's going to be really important to them is 2028 offensive lineman Zach Warshon. I think he's a guy that they really are going to need to make sure that they bring along in the right way so that he can be another weapon for them up front, somebody that Weston Nielsen can depend on to potentially protect his blind side or be that swing tackle on the right side that can, secure the edge. So those are the things that I think, those are some other names to know, but the development of these players in particular could be huge to the success of the team next season.
Absolutely. The Bastrop Bears, a team loaded with talent on both sides of the ball heading into the 2025 season. Keep it locked on TexasFootball.com/recruiting.